All right, welcome back to Waste Some Time with Jason Green. I'm Jason Green. If you're new here, and I can't imagine you are, but if you are, new interviews every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then all kinds of other cool content on the other days. So you got to tune in. And if you look right now, there's probably about 40 rock and roll interviews up with all kinds of great musicians. And hopefully you learned something new that you didn't know before. Now today, I'm talking to Gus Scott. He was the drummer for the band TRIXTER. TRIXTER was the pride of Paramus, New Jersey. I'm from the East Coast. I know this, okay? And so it's been, you want to feel old? It's been a little over 30 years since TRIXTER's debut record. So we are going to talk to Mark, and we're going to find out about the good old days with TRIXTER. And then I'm going to attempt to find out what the hell's going on with these guys now, because this was one of the few bands that kept their original lineup together all these years. And I think there's some kind of hostility, but I'm going to fix it with Mark's help. We're going to find out what's going on, and we're going to get TRIXTER back out there. And we're going to do all of that right after this. Just wanna waste some time with you. Sometimes it seems too good to be true. Nobody out there to waste time with you. All right, let's get to the man of the hour. Where is he? Oh, hold on. And let's go there. There we go. Gus Scott.
Jason, how are you, pal? Thanks so much for having me.
Good. I'm really glad you can join me. Now, I got to ask you, do you like to be called Mark or do you like to be called Gus?
You know, one thing's for sure. If one of the guys in the band looks deep into my eyes and says, "Oh, Mark," I don't feel comfortable at all. Gus is always the friend. My good buddies, everybody calls me Gus. But if it's a special lady, maybe Mark might be apropos.
So I'm going to go with Gus.
Please do, yeah. Please don't look too deep into the lens and say, "Oh, Mark."
Yeah. If I slip up, you catch me. Now, I was born in New York, and I lived in New York my whole life, and so I got to see TRIXTER from these really early stages. And I think that a lot of people don't realize one of the things you guys did is you built the hell out of your band and with this fan base long before MTV was playing you. This band goes back much further than that. I remember going to concerts at the Ritz and you'd see all these screaming girls. And I'd say, who are they so excited about? And it's TRIXTER. I said, what is a TRIXTER? But you guys, you were doing kind of what the Sunset Strip was doing as far as flyering and things go. You'd show up at the shows, make sure people knew where you're playing, and you were packing them and building your buzz. So you tell me a little bit about those early days with TRIXTER.
You know, it's the funny part, and you said it in a very interesting fashion. We did it very much the way they did it on the LA Strip, with flyers hitting people up. But we didn't have a corridor of town in Paramus, New Jersey to hit up. Our corridor of town were the malls. So we and then after a while, mall security gets on you. You had to be somewhat clandestine about how you're going to promote your shows. People got to understand, back then there was no internet. You don't post an event on some social media site. There's no electronic billboard. And we were kids in high school, for crying out loud. So the ingenious thing that we did everything as a homework assignment. We were still in high school. So if we needed to make flyers, we did them in graphics class. So we did it, got graded on making the flyer, then did extra credit by making extra flyers, went out to the Bergen Mall, Paramus Park, Garden State Plaza, and ding, 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 we nailed everybody. You know what I mean? And if we saw mall security, walk on by, nothing going on over here. We hit the cars outside, put them on leaflets. We used to drive down the Garden State Parkway, and we'd get TRIXTER bumper stickers, and we'd stick them right on the islands of where they collected the tolls. So everything became like a billboard for us. Like where you throw the change, we put them in there. And we'd have 6 cars going down the parkway, and one car would take a toll, and we'd nail every damn one of those change bins. We did it just out of instinct. It's not like, nobody told us that we had to do this. We said, well, here's an opportunity. Let's go to graphics class. We'll make some damn bumper stickers for nothing. And then we're going to print the heck out of them, and we're going to hit the Garden State Parkway and put them everywhere.
Yeah, this is guerrilla marketing ahead of its time. And what's so great about it is now, if a band was to do that, it's transparent. You would know they're doing it. You'd see them online. You know who they went to school and did that. Back then, no one knew Trickster was in high school. No one knew that they were printing these things in class. You guys portrayed it as it's this big thing. We're the next band. We like our fans, and we're good-looking guys, and we dress kind of hip, and
It wasn't so assumptive like that. We just didn't know what else to do, so we did everything. You know what I mean? And maybe some things didn't work. We don't care. It was a combination of smart and stupid. Like, nobody pursues something to that level without knowing what you're going to get at the end. We didn't care what we got at the end. It was something to do, so we did it. You know what I mean? And we were hoping for the best, and we channeled our efforts to make a difference, but we didn't know for sure. We were just kids. So he said, well, what kind of morons go 6 cars across down the Garden State Parkway? First you travel south. Okay, Vinny, get in the right lane. Get lane 2. Get lane 2. And oh, damn, I forgot lane 3 on the way. On the way back, we're going to make a U-turn. I got to get lane 3. And we did it with CB radios because there was no cell phones yet. Sure. You know what I mean? So it was, and then the idea of doing it, we didn't do it because it was a business promotion. It was fun. What a freaking hoot we had, sticking our heads out the window, 80 miles an hour. Well, I don't live in Jersey anymore. 80 miles an hour going down the Garden State Parkway, ripping it with all our friends. I mean, what a great time. Those things we remember. And thank God, the fruits of that labor paid off to some degree. But we didn't know what was going to happen. We just freaking did it, man. It was a hoot.
Well, this is what happened, even if you didn't know it was going to happen. So you guys get signed. You make this record. Tell me a little bit about the early days of Trickster with this.
As far as the record coming to be, the picture you're looking at there is the cover of our first album, TRIXTER. Well, it's kind of silly. It's the album TRIXTER by the band TRIXTER. And the cover was done by Neil Adams. He was a big comic book guy. Anybody who's into comics must know Neil Adams. He did the Batman comics, I guess, Superman, all the big stuff. Huge. And I met him more recently, and what a cool guy. I watched him. He was at a comic book convention, and he was signing autographs. This is the coolest thing. When he signs an autograph, he doesn't just write his name. He takes like a large index card, and he makes a scene. He was making these dots and dashes all over his card. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? All of a sudden, I saw this face emerge out of the paper. I was like, holy crap. And like the idea that he has that kind of talent to make inanimate objects come to life. What an honor to have him do the Trickster cover. You know what I mean? It was like, holy cow. And they portrayed us. The record company did. I didn't know how to get him. He was Mechanic MCA. That was some clout, man. They had this concept of like the superhero thing, and our press kit was a comic book. They actually made Trickster comic books, and they had the story of Trickster in the comic book. You can probably find them on eBay and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, how flattering, how amazing it was to be a cartoon superhero. It was a dream come true. It was awesome.
And I mean, it's early to say this, but I got to point it out right away. Look at all the flannel on you guys. People are talking about grunge coming out. This is 1990. You guys were way ahead of the game.
Yes, sir. And it's evidenced by the video also, particularly, magazines, yeah, but the most obvious thing that I could point out, our first video, Give It To Me Good, that came out, we made it in like the summer of 1990. It finally hit MTV in September 1990, something like that. So, I don't think anybody else did it before then, and
especially in that platform.
Yeah, certainly not in, that genre, absolutely, or anything. And then grunge wasn't even around yet, So yeah, just that picture there, that's from 1990, 91. I remember William Hayes took that shot. Great shot. William Hayes, West Coast. Hey, Bill. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Every time you flash something up, I think back to what it was like back then, what we were doing, where we were going. I remember where that picture was taken in Willie Hayes' studio in California. And it's just an amazing time, dreams coming true like that. Like when we were sticking bumper stickers on the Garden State Parkway, we were hoping for stuff like that, but you never believe it's actually going to freaking happen. I mean, you hope it is, but you keep doing it because that's what you do, man,
Yeah, here we got another one here. This is kind of
that's Steve's basement. That's Steve's mother's house basement where we used to practice. And what do I got? An electronic drum there. I'm beating the crap out of. I didn't really play it. I guess we just used it for the shot. But yeah, you know, we got a little silly, having fun. But yeah, that's Steve's mother's basement in Paramus, New Jersey.
And, you know, at this time, you know, Jerry Miller of the magazine Metal Edge, you know, recently passed away. Rest in peace to her.
God bless her. God bless her.
Those people like Jerry really got behind your bands, and especially yours is one of them. And so to have your picture in that magazine every month, and you know, to get interviews and people were relating to it. It was hard to get through to people, and so you guys got a lot of coverage. And again, if teenage girls were going crazy for this, you know, you guys really were crossing into a good market.
We were very fortunate in many ways, and like you said, Jerry Miller, she got behind us a lot. You know how thankful we were for that kind of attention? I mean, we looked at our heroes in Metal Edge magazine. Though when we were going on a parkway, we'd say, one day we're going to be like just like that, you know, and like that was the craziest thing. And we used to see John Bon Jovi hanging out with Jerry Miller in a little candid shot. And then we met Jerry, and she's taking pictures with us in those little candid shots. It's like, no way, you know what I mean? And that was just so cool. But, you know, the drive that we had, it wasn't the glitz like that. We just wanted to do it. And I think the playing live aspect was probably the biggest driving factor. We wanted to play the big shows. We wanted to rock arenas, you know what I mean? Amphitheaters. That was what it was all about as far as we're concerned. Playing those kinds of shows, live. You know, yes, being in a magazine is great. Getting attention on MTV is awesome. Having your song played on the radio, playing the show when the lights go down and everyone's going freaking crazy, and I get to beat the living fucking shit out of drums like that. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. That's why we did. Well, that's why I did it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but, you know, and all that work behind it gets you to that, you know, to that point. You guys, your focus is making that music. But if you don't have all these other gimmicks, it's really hard to stand out, because there's a lot of bands, you know, Sunset Strip, a lot of bands got signed and you might know them. But on the East Coast scene, it was a little different. I mean, you got major bands, you know, like Cinderella and Skid Row before. But a lot of the smaller bands from Jersey, Long Island really got lost in the shuffle. You guys raised that first record's a gold album. I want to ask you, was there a publicity stunt at some point to lie about your ages?
Yes and no. I think that some people think that there was a big stunt. To be quite honest with you, we did shave a couple of years off. The record company thought it would be a positive thing. And here, this is an interesting subject. The record company thought it would be a positive thing to market us as a real young band. Now, that could very well be. But if you identify your place within the marketplace as being a young band, then you better promote to the young audience, or like a young band audience. You can't take a young band and promote it to 21-year-old. You know, it just doesn't work. So we had a problem. When you have that young band thing, you're in things like Tiger Beat magazine and that avenue. And that isn't necessarily so cool. So if you're reluctant to strike that avenue of marketing, there's a problem. There's an incongruency, you know. So you have this young band, they don't want to do young marketing. That's a problem. You know what I mean? I think that's I think it was a big mistake to do that. You know, if we were going to commit to being this younger band, then we had to market accordingly, and we struggled with that. I think there could have been a better approach on that level.
Well, and some of those younger fans then can't get into the shows you're playing. That's one problem with that.
True.
Because a lot of times you're playing clubs and things. And so that's part of it. And then you do get sort of labeled. I think TRIXTER is definitely a band that got beat up on. In a sense, you were becoming Hanson or something, you know, that didn't exist yet. But you know, I think when people want to blame bands, you guys get a big piece of that, you know, like, oh, well, and not realizing, we should point out, 1990 is not late to the party. You guys are headed, and your band existed through the 80s. So it's not like this was just a thing. And it wasn't like, oh, well, we're copying all these other bands. It was the bands that came after TRIXTER. And then after TRIXTER, then maybe the market got oversaturated. And as you know, every label then goes, well, if this is good, I got to sign one. I got to have one of these bands, almost like boy bands. I got to have that. And that's where the saturation came. So, of course, you guys got beat up a little bit.
Yeah. See, like, that's the interesting point right there. I think they wanted new kids of metal. And we weren't positioning ourselves to be the new kids on the block. We wanted to be a rock band. We wanted a bona fide freaking kick your ass rock band. So the idea of lying about your age and pursuing in that avenue, it was not effective. And I think I think ultimately it hurt us to some degree. It wasn't a positive thing to do.
Yeah, and I think at some point it came out like MTV News or something.
Yeah, that was another thing. If you're gonna pretend that you're a little younger, you don't release yearbook photos from high school and print the date on it. It's like we just got out of the box. First video's on, and let's just tell them the truth about what's going on. It's like you're fucking it all up, man. So, not that it was a big conspiracy thing, but if you're going to go with a certain plan, go with the plan. It was so stupid. Like, you guys just fuck,
Was it that Pete was a couple of years older, right? Like, he was out of high school or whatever.
Right now, let me think. Back then, I was 21 when we signed the contract in 89. Record came out in 1990, so I was 22. Pete was 2 years older than me, so he was 24. Steve, now these are the real ages. Right. Steve was 2 years younger than me, so he was 20, and PJ was 2 years younger than Steve, so he was 18. Now I think they kept PJ's age, maybe kept CJ. They knocked 2 years off me. I think they knocked 3 or 4 years off Pete. I don't even remember exactly what the fake age was, but I think they shaved 2 years off my age. And I was 22. I mean, the fact of the matter is, we were young. We didn't have to freaking lie about anything. There had to be no story. What, 2 years going to make a difference? How about put it out, let it kick ass? Who cares how old they are?
Can you imagine there's a meeting where people are sitting around going, this is what we got to do.
It's like, shut up, you prick. Put out the single and push it.
Now, fortunately, good things did happen for TRIXTER. You did have those songs. You did make it to that ballad. You had to make it to the ballad. You want a gold record? You better get a hit ballad out there. And a lot of bands didn't make it that far. Was Line of Fire the first single that you guys had put out?
Technically, yes. Line of Fire was something we released to AOR stations, album-oriented rock, P2s and P3s, stations like college radio, album rock stations, not the big commercial hit radio stations. We thought it was very important to develop a rock audience first, strong roots, not just pop, flash in the pan. When you do something like that, you develop a rapport with the station. You come to them first before going to the P1s or the CHR stations, and you tend to develop rapport, and you form a bond. You typically grow. You have more rooted roots to where, it's not just flash in the pan. If you're on, let's say, a pirate radio or a Z100 in New York, you have a single, great. Okay, when you don't have a single, you got nothing. With the album rock stations, they tend to have more gravity, tend to have more of a depth to what they play, or remember who you are instead of just throwing you away when you're off the charts. You know what I mean? So we thought that was important to develop that base, the cult following, if you will, before blasting out the CHR stuff.
Yeah, and so that song is out, and it's a good rock song. It's a good rock album. But eventually you make that video for Give It To Me Good, and it goes crazy. And that's when you have
it didn't happen right off the bat, bro. I'll tell you what. That's the way it looks outside. But we made that in I'm trying to think when it was. Maybe in May of 1990, and it didn't get played until September of 1990. So when you're throwing $80,000 at a video production and nobody wants to play it, you're like, oh my God, what the hell are we gonna do? What happens when we go to MTV, say, hey, here's our new video. You gotta check it out. You gotta play it. They're like, oh, hey, thanks, guys. What's Major Radio doing with the song? We're like, God damn it, because we spent all that time putting the grassroots thing with Line of Fire. We had some traction, but it wasn't starting to pump yet. So MTV says, yeah, what's major radio doing? Like, oh, shoot. So we go to major radio. We go, hey, you got this new thing. Give it to me good. You got to play it. MTV's got the video. They're going to play it any day now. You got to play it. Go, oh, I appreciate it. What's MTV doing with that video now? Like, it's not on yet, but okay, you call us when it is. So radio's waiting for MTV to play it. MTV's waiting for radio to play it. And in the middle, he's saying, what do you want from me? It's like, oh, no, what do you do? But we got lucky. And where we got lucky is that MTV gave us a shot. They put us on something called Dial MTV. Oh, not Dial, Smash or Trash. They put us on Smash or Trash. And they take an unknown video. They say, okay, if you like it, call this 800 number. It's great, smash. If you think it sucks, call this other 800. TRIXTER video sucks, trash it. So you take a gamble. But we were very fortunate and smashed some 80-something%. We did very well. And they put us into medium rotation. And that's when things started to happen. So when you're on medium rotation on MTV, you can go to radio stations and say, hey, we're on medium rotation. You got to play us. So are you an idiot? We're on MTV. Oh, chop, chop. Then we start getting the traction, those radio stations coming, you know. And all of a sudden, one day, holy crap, we put on TV. And what does it say? TRIXTER #7 on MTV. Holy shit.
And this is where your fan base comes into play. You spend all the time in the mall and at the Seaside Heights. You did all these things, Jersey Shore before Jersey Shore. These fans loved you. You were nice to them. You were corresponding. Now you need them. So you got Smash or Trash. They're calling. You got Dial.
See, you just nailed it. Yes. All that groundwork you laid. Same thing, like I said, when we went to those P2 and P3 radio stations. They may not have been Z100 in New York, but there's a lot of them. When you develop that rapport, when you need them, they're going to be there for you, man. And that is something very important, building a base. People don't understand the dynamics of what that's all about. When we say grassroots marketing, they don't understand the result, what you're trying to do with that. What you said right there, that is exactly what we're freaking talking about here. And people lose sight of building a brand that way. It's so important. And that, Jason, you just could explain it better.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So the video's playing. For those who don't remember this Dial MTV or people who are younger, your video can now play against Michael Jackson, Madonna. It doesn't matter who the star is. It's top 10. If your fans are making those calls, they're making the calls. Guns N' Roses could be #2 and TRIXTER could be #1 on any given day of the week. And this is huge. And so now you're getting out there. Everyone's knowing you guys, and you get some major tours. Tell me about the tours that you guys are going on.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. Okay. So it all started. I'm trying to think what day it was. Maybe late summer, midsummer in 1990, when we got our first tour bus, and we took off from Paramus, New Jersey, for the first time. And I was all freaked out. There's mirrors on the ceiling. There's little Elvis lights everywhere, like Christmas all over the bus. And we had an honest to God real tour bus. I was freaking out. It was a total dream come true. So for Paramus, New Jersey, our first show was in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Holy crap. I never been to Mechanicsburg. We're going. So here we go. And we get there. It's kind of early because not that far from Jersey. And no one's even at the joint yet. So what do? And this is the kind of attitude I think we had towards everything. Said, nothing to do. We saw a field outside. Said, come on, get the football. Let's go. Well, what a great freaking time we had. You know what I mean? Crew, band, waiting for somebody to show up. And guess what? Every once in a while, a fan would come by. Oh, what are you doing? Get in there. Come on. We just had so much fun and took advantage of everywhere we went. Everything was a positive. It was nothing negative. We were ready to just take on the world and just have a great time. I think it was just hysterical.
You're answering one of my big questions in advance, which is, did you get a chance to enjoy it? Did you get to smell the flowers? And the answer is obviously yes.
You know, I think different people get into it for different reasons. One thing is for sure, we were young and stupid, and we were also decent people. We enjoyed it, and we were all friends before the band. So the idea when we got into doing this, it was so crazy and fun. From day one, that was our first day on the road, and we had that attitude. You know what I mean? So yeah, dude, absolutely. Very few people had more fun, genuine fun than we did. You know, so much fun. Hell yeah. So, we started on our own. We did our own little club gigs until one day we got a phone call. Trying to think, it wasn't that long. We were only out for like a couple weeks, and we got a phone call from Stryper. And they asked if we wanted to open for them. We were like, holy crap, freaking love Stryper. And like, we really did, We were big Stryper fans. We happen to love that crap, It was freaking awesome. So the idea of one of your heroes calling you to say, come on and open the show for us, like, yeah, it was so cool. And Robert Sweet, the drummer, I mean, I always looked up to him. He's always one of my favorite drummers. So the idea right out of the box opening for Stryper, like, holy shit.
Drummers love.
Yeah, I mean,
we threw a birthday party.
Guy. I haven't seen him in a while. I really like him very much. Michael, I've seen a bunch. He's out doing a lot of solo stuff. I've seen Michael a lot. I haven't seen Robert. Robert, if you're out there, I love you, babe.
So Robert lives here. Robert lives here in Las Vegas. Is
that right?
Yeah, as does Oz Fox. We threw a birthday party for Blas Elias from Slaughter, and we knew that he loved Robert Sweet. Most drummers do, and so we got Robert to come out and play for the night for his surprise party. We got all kinds of cool drummers here.
Very cool. We got Blas. I saw more recently. Less than a year ago, I was out in Vegas. I saw him with Burning Rain. He's great.
Yeah.
Blas always a very nice guy, too. Great player, great guy. I like him very much.
But so you guys are on the Against the Law tour with Stryper, and you guys
Against the Law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And because I saw you guys play New York, you played the Ritz, which was Studio 54 before it was the Ritz.
Yes. And we played with Stryper.
Yeah.
And then I remember doing it alone as well. But I remember the Stryper gig. I remember the hotel we had. I'm like, what are we staying in a hotel for? I'm right across the bridge. But we did. But yeah, I mean, oh man, I remember all this stuff. It was just so cool, because it was all happening. And then we do it with one of your heroes. How nuts is that? And so we did Stryper. I can't remember how long it was for. A couple months, I think. I honestly can't remember. But we basically went across the country. At least once we started up in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken, at Rock and Roll Heaven, was it? Which was pretty cool, playing in Canada, just crossing a border to play a show. Hey, how cool is that, Never did that before. That was wild. And, yeah, man. Then we got a call from Don Dokken. He had a solo album going at that time. And he had a kick-ass band, Peter Baltz on bass. He had Mickey D on drums, John Norum on guitar. Great band, kicking butt. And man, things really started to happen. Our audiences were swelling. Things were going very, very well. A lot of fun. And again, getting a call from a guy like Don Dokken to open the show. How cool is that?
And I think these bands knew, because both those bands are a little bit older. I think they know it's not a bad thing to have a young kind of happening band go on before us.
At the end of the day, we were starting to progress. I mean, we were getting added at more radio stations. MTV was starting to play us. So it was just, if I'm a headliner, I'm looking at the landscape. I want to see who's doing what out there. Oh, this guy's a candidate. This one's not. Well, he's got some tracks. They're climbing the charts. Let's give them a call. I mean, it's more arithmetic, I think, than I hope they liked the music and thought it was somewhat congruent to what they were doing. I wouldn't get some, psychedelic furs to open up for Stryper or something like that, So there was a congruency factor, and it was working out well. But I mean, at least from our perspective, we were just so honored. You know what I mean? It was so cool,
Tell me about some of the other big bands, because you guys were playing constantly with people.
Yeah. Okay. So after Don Dokken, we towards the end of the year, we got a call from Poison, and they wanted us to come out for at the beginning of '91. Now that was huge. That was going to be our first arena show. Opening, and Poison was really big at the time. Yeah. It was like, wow. And I got to tell you that was the epitome of the dreams really starting to come true, or where dreams started to exceed reality, or reality was exceeding our dreams. It was just crazy. The first place we played, I think it was a hockey arena, and it was the biggest stage I was ever on at the time. And before the show, Brett comes in the dressing room and he goes, "Hey guys," this is the famous line. "Hey guys, welcome to the tour." Everybody says that, Stryper guys, they came in and said it. Dokken, he said it. Brett comes in, he said it. Like, here we go again with this "welcome to the tour" bullshit. We got it. But,
I got to tell you a funny story. I knew a band that was opening for Whitesnake in the Prime, and they said that Tawny Katan used to sit in a director's chair at the side of the stage, and she was the one who welcomed you to the tour.
How classic is that? That's funny.
But it's okay. Poison. You're out. This is huge. You're out with Poison.
Yeah. So just before the show, Brett comes in. He's welcome to the tour thing. He says, "Listen, after the show, we're having dinner in our dressing room. Give us like 10, 15 minutes to come on in. We'll have some dinner." Like, we just got invited to dinner with Poison backstage. Holy crap, how cool is that? So we do this show. It was freaking amazing. It was the first time we did a show and we didn't have a sound check. We weren't used to that, It was like, all right, guys, put your stuff up there. Okay, house doors open. Out. We're like, oh, shoot. Didn't get a sound check, so it's supposed to be this big arena show. And oh my God, we didn't get a sound check. It's going to go wrong. It's going to be horrible. 30 seconds into playing the show, everything was rock and roll, man. It was such a dream come true, amazing. So we get off stage, we go right into the showers. And I don't know if people can understand, but in an arena, the showers are like one big concrete room with 10 shower nozzles, kind of like a sports locker room. You know what I mean? Guess what it is? So it's a big open thing, and everybody kind of showers together in a large open room. So we're taking a shower. All of a sudden, in comes Bret Michaels and these 5 strippers right into the freaking shower. And the strippers have champagne. And Bret goes, "Hey, fellas, welcome to the tour." It's freaking like that epitome line, you know what I mean? It was just so classic. And we got a big shower that day.
Yeah, it was very nice of him. He's very inviting.
You know what? He didn't have to do that. And I always say he had insight because he knew where we were in our career. He knew what it was all about. He was there himself, and he took the time and effort to make it special. That, you know what? And then we had dinner with them. What is that? I was like, really? It was all starting to happen. Like, wow, holy crap! I mean, if I told somebody that this happened before it happened, they'd be like, "Oh gosh, shut up."
Right.
Just how nuts is that, man? But yeah, I can't say he was always a gentleman. We've known him over 30 years. Brett, when you see him on TV, he's nice and all that. He is even nicer than you see him on TV. He's like that freaking nice. Always a special place in my heart for him. Thank you, Brett.
Yeah. Okay. So this is, obviously now you're at an arena level, and there's tons of these tours. The one that's always, the videos are always out, is you did the tour with Warrant and Firehouse, the Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour. This was
even before that, we were supposed to do a heck of a lot of dates with Poison, and we couldn't because we had a commitment to play shows with the Scorpions.
Oh, that's
Scorpions
right.
with them. Yeah, 1991. I forget when we actually started, but it was before the summer, and they had the Winds of Change album, and they were doing well with that. And man, when we hit with that, with those guys, we had 2 #1 videos on MTV at the time. It was Give It To Me Good and 1 in a Million. We were rocking, and the Scorpions tour was strong. That was a strong tour. Oakland Coliseum 2 nights in a row. First sold out show we ever did on an arena level was at McNichol Arena in Denver. It was like, oh my God, things are really just starting to happen at that next level. We were just blown away. It was such an honor every night to open the show for those guys.
Yeah, this is huge. And then as we're going ahead a little bit, you get to that ballad, Surrender. That comes out, and the third shot. You had Give It To Me Good. You had 1 in a Million. Now you got to get to that third shot. And here it is. And boy, does MTV let this one play.
They did. It played. It was our third video. Surrender, the ballad, the big crossover bingo. That was supposed to be the one. It debuted at number 2. 2 days later, went number 1 on MTV. And what happened? MTV killed the top 10 countdown. There was no more Dial MTV. And we couldn't understand what happened. And well, this was supposed to be the song. We should have done it a couple months earlier. What are we, stupid? Bubba, you know? And man, it was a very weird thing. But it wasn't something against us. It was something against the genre as a whole. It was everybody on the countdown. Winger, Warrant, Firehouse, TRIXTER, Scorpions, Bon Jovi, Def Leppard. Everybody got screwed. You know, and the weird part was at the time that we did get cut, we were, I guess, just about to go out on a Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour with Warrant and Firehouse, and that thing started to pick up steam. We thought we'd do a nice job. We had a bunch of shows. We started adding more shows. We started playing bigger places, and then we did something like we did a show at the World Amphitheater in Chicago. 33,000 people sold out. Mm-hmm. Now, if someone told me, hey, Gus, you're going to play with Warrant Firehouse in Chicago, and you're going to sell out the goddamn World Amphitheater, I'd say, shut the fuck up. What, are you kidding me? What, are you, an idiot?
And this is a day when you can see three bands, and all the guys in the bands are the actual guys from the band.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Not something that happens, and we'll get to all that. But so they shot a pay-per-view of this in Louisiana.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Everybody saw it. And it's
Man,
still
it was huge. 91 was our year. It was the year of the genre. I mean, it was killing. So that's the weird part. And it was the biggest pay-per-view of the year as well. The concert tour was the biggest concert tour of the year for the Blood, Sweat, and Beers thing. So how do you have all these great achievements and MTV is kicking you to the curb? Mm-hmm. How does that happen? I mean, at the end of the night, Janie Lane used to invite Firehouse and TRIXTER to come out for the last song. We'd all jam together, make it crazy and fun. Yeah, and we'd all stand there in a line with our arms up in the air, looking at 30,000 people going freaking crazy. And MTV cut us. We're looking like, it doesn't make sense. What happened? How did, you know, I talked to my manager. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So you see this? It's like, did somebody screw somebody's daughter at MTV and now we're all fucked? I mean, what happened? You know, it didn't make any sense until you go a few years later and you see what started to come in and you see that there was a change prompted at MTV. But the dawn of the 90s was going to be something different than what the 80s were. And MTV led that change. They prompted it by getting rid of things like Dial MTV and the Top 10 Countdown that was dominated by hair bands. And this new stuff like Soundgarden and Nirvana and things like that were going to start getting played. And all these hair bands are going to stop getting played.
And you're also going to start having dating shows and Real World.
Yes, programming.
Beavis and Butthead, you're going to have more things. So, okay, so 91 is going to become 92, and then this happens.
Yeah. I wish we didn't take off so much time in between, but I'll tell you what, that record here, if people haven't heard it, all I ask is go to YouTube, listen for free, and just check out a couple of tunes from that record. Man, I can't tell you how proud we were when that thing was done. It was like, dude, we loved the songs. We really believed in the material. Production's fantastic. Loved it. Really great record. Great ballads, great rockers, great songs. I mean, really good stuff. Great hooks. Guitar kicking ass, drums rock. The vocals are killer. Great hooks, man. Great hooks. And unfortunately, it was the wrong record for that time. That's for sure.
We got lost in the shuffle.
We got lost in the shuffle after that. Yes, sir. It's weird. Right? It wasn't just us. Again, like you look at what Bon Jovi or Def Leppard was doing at the time. But Bon Jovi's coming off of New Jersey, which sold 8 million records or something like that. Their next one was what? Keep the Faith. Mm-hmm. How many? What's the percentage of downfall you think they had in America? What, 70%, 60%? Now, if we only sold 1 million copies and we're down 70% at least,
big hit.
You know, how do you? That's really rough, man. For any, if you make golf balls and you sold 1 million golf balls in 1991 and 92, you only sold 200,000 golf balls. You'd be pretty freaking pissed off. Mm-hmm. And somebody, management up at corporate's gonna come down and make a phone call and say, what the fuck are you guys doing down there? You know what I mean?
How much longer can the bands go on with this record? How long until it ends?
Well, we were still young, so maybe we were still stupid too. But first, right off the bat, at the end of '92, we got on tour with Kiss with this record. That was pretty amazing. Kiss was a huge influence on us. The idea that they called and wanted us to open for Kiss, I was like, oh my
The
God.
Revenge Tour, right?
Oh my God, a dream come true, an absolute dream come true. I remember my manager calling me and saying, we all knew that there's something was in the works, but nobody would say anything. So my manager called me. I'm at my mother's house. I go, Gus, it's your manager. No way. What's going on? What's going on? We knew something was going. He goes, Gus, get a pen. Get a pen. Get a pen. He goes, April 8th, Stabler Arena, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I go, arena. It's an arena tour. It's an arena tour. I start writing. He goes, all right. And then on this date, we're playing the Meadowlands Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey. I'm like, yes, that was our hometown arena. We get to play it again. I say, oh my fucking God, who the hell are we opening for? He goes, Gus, if you wanted the best, you got the best. The hottest band in the world. Yes. I was like, holy shit. You know, it was the cup runneth over moment. I ran outside of the front lawn. I tore my shirt off, down on my knees going, yes, yes. It's so amazing, you know? I'll never forget how beautiful a moment it was. And my brother was there. A young lady who I was dating was there at the time. And it was just like, oh my God. It was so next level, man. You know, it was like, wow, so crazy. And that was about the last of the hurrahs out of it.
I was just going to say, I hate to rain on the parade. You know, Faster Pussycat was on this tour also on the Revenge.
Yes.
Tour, and they got dropped while on that tour. Elektra dropped them while, you know, so you're on an arena tour and your label says, we're done. I mean,
I'm telling you, it was a very weird time, Everybody went through crap. The big bands went through crap. You know, it's like, a very strange time. Yeah, but we continued on, and we still had the opportunity to play live. At the end of '92, we finished up the Kiss tour, and in '93, we just did a club and theater tour. You know, we had opportunities to play. We still had marketability in a lot of places across the country, so we did it. You know,
you go back to what you know.
Yeah, the one thing I think we could have done a better job at when we were riding high, somebody should have been pushing the overseas market better, but we had distribution problems, blah, blah, blah. But during a time that things were rough in America, we should have been overseas kicking ass. And we kind of missed the...
Firehouse did it. They got...
Yes, sir. They did a very nice job of doing it. They got out of America,
and they got bigger overseas. They still would make giant albums, and it paid off. But it's not always easy to break there either.
Agreed. But it's certainly a hell of a lot easier when you're on MTV rocking and kicking ass as opposed to falling down the mountain. You know?
Yeah. And, you know, I think that Steve Brown is a really great guitar player who probably never got that guitar hero bill. Now I think people know of him. But at the time, I don't think he got that sell, you know, and that helped. You wanted to break into Japan, they wanted a shredder, which he could do.
Absolutely. I'll agree with that. It's a very good point. And maybe because we did the stupid chopping off a couple of years on the age thing, I don't think that helped. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we were taken seriously on that in that sense. So the idea of promoting a guitar hero of a band you're trying to dumb down, I just don't think it's, again, an incongruency factor. It's a weird thing. Sure, he had the talent. Of course he had the talent. He was a stellar player. Wasn't just a poofster, you know. He really kicked ass. And yes, as time went on, people started to see what the hell's going on. But I wish he certainly had the opportunity for a little more hustle behind the muscle at that time, when the band could use, it would have been a nice marketable attribute. Absolutely.
So now, TRIXTER is going to be dormant for a lot of years. You got a covers record that comes out, but I think is that an EP or is that a full length record?
EP. It's I think it had 8 songs. I can't remember exactly. I think it had 8 songs.
Yeah, and so
a crappy album, a good EP.
Well said.
As far as standards go, I guess. Well, Van Halen just put out 8-song albums, right? So, phooey. So call it an album, you know. But it was an interesting project, and that was in '94.
Yeah.
And then we kind of disbanded in '95.
So now tell me, you know, and we're going to sum a whole decade up here, so you don't have to tell me too much, but what happens? Everyone goes their own way?
You know, it got to a point. Yeah, it was funny when we were rocking, everything was going great. I was always quoted as saying, I was always crazy, you know, everything was just happening so fast, and I was high on life. And I would say, man, if we're not having a good time, we're going home. And everybody go, yeah. Yeah. So it got to a point where I wasn't having a good time. And I sat down with the guys. I said, guys, I'm not having a good time. I want to go home. And I never thought out of anybody in the band that I'd be the guy to say that. I never thought I would. But things were bad, and I guess nobody really wanted to sit down and get it. We went from having the best of everything, the best booking agent, CAA, MCA Records, a great manager, distribution, everything, and then we had nothing. And the guys just wanted to drink and like keep playing these club shows, and the first one we showed up for on the tour was closed. It was like, so, you know, I said, if we want to get together and form a plan about something, you know, that would kind of be a smart way to at least start. And I don't know, that wasn't really on anybody's agenda. So I was like, you know what, time for me to go. And then I guess I called my drum teacher. He filled in for a while. Michael Luciano, great guy, great drummer. And I guess shortly thereafter, they did some shows, and then shortly thereafter, they disbanded in '95.
And so what do you do for those years? You go from being a rock star to what are you doing?
Spending the money you got on a house, cars, got married. And I really had, you know, first though, it was finding something that you want to do. You know, getting caught up in the trap of doing something because you have to. That was really weird. And I was lucky enough that when I was with the band that I got behind the scenes at MCA, Mechanic MCA, and learned a lot about global marketing. So I had some education in that regard, and I was able to apply it, I guess, in a local sense back in New Jersey, working for an indoor amusement park. Mm-hmm. And I was hitting the marketing angle and sales, and things were starting to go very well. So I found a niche of something that I could do that I enjoyed to do. Yeah. And started working for the Dave & Buster's Corporation. And they needed a marketing and sales guy, and I started to work with other people first, and they saw what I could do and said, come work with us. And that started to be my professional career, being the FEC guy, the Family Entertainment Center guy, who's going to take your box and make it generate more. That was the idea. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of stuff that I learned from MCA Records. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. And
so,
yeah.
I saw it related to a lot of things. It wasn't that I was an amusement genius. I saw that food had a big thing to do with how food drives the frequency to a certain location. That you tend to go out to eat a hell of a lot more than you just play with games. You know, it's a human necessity. So that drives how often someone's going to actually come to your location. Your food is an important thing. So then I got into restaurants with the Dave & Buster's thing. That food drove the frequency to how many times people were going to come to Dave & Buster's. And ultimately, I did very well at Dave & Buster's for about 2.5 years. And then they presented me with my numbers for year 3. Mark, here's what you got to do to make that money. And I said, holy crap, if I ever got to work that hard, I'm going to buy my own damn place. So I did. I bought a restaurant. And I took the same darn principles that I did at Dave & Buster's. I did it at the restaurant. And man, a good, 4 months after I bought the restaurant, we were up like 35%. It was rocking. I was very fortunate, very, very fortunate, very happy, sort of, you know. Yeah, it was weird. I mean, but I was very fortunate in the sense that going from rock and roll to a normal person, so to speak, I had a very good transition. A little bumpy at first, but overall, I was very fortunate. I found a place in life where I didn't have to look into a dark corner of a room and say, oh, I should be doing something. I should put a needle in my arm. But, it wasn't like that. And so in that regard, I was very, very fortunate, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to jump way ahead because there's a lot. So here,
go ahead, Jason.
Here we are.
There we go.
We're in 2012. Look at that. And
Love
somehow you waited long enough maybe this musical, there'll be new labels and there'll be new interest, and fans will want to relive the good old days, and they want a new audio machine. So you get the original band of TRIXTER back together. This is the comeback record. This is a really good album. This is a heavy rocking album with good songs. And I think the people who got to hear it really enjoyed it. So tell me a little bit about what was it like getting the band back together at this point?
I'll tell you, I remember we were trying to think. We were out of commission for about 13 years. So I remember the first time that Steve made contact with me. I was at my restaurant, and one day Steve and our good buddy JD, the fifth Beatle of the band, our good friend, comes in and he's holding a video camera, and I see Steve come in the front door, and I go, oh! So to put it back together was like, it's funny. I remember flying home. My last show with TRIXTER was in San Antonio, Texas. I remember flying home. I said, man, I wonder if one day there's going to be a comeback. So when he came walking through the door, it's like, I've been waiting for this, And I remember we put it back together. We did some shows, and then Steve said, man, we got to make a record. And I was like, oh, no. I was so scared. Why? Every one of our heroes, just about, that came out with an album after 2000, it was like, I'm going to say 90% of them, the quality material was so not there. I remember the days that I got a record from my heroes, and I put on like, yes, that's what I've been waiting for. It sounds so great. And then I try to get that same feeling out of the records after year 2000. I was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? So I was so scared about us falling into the same category. I didn't want to put out a record just for the sake of putting out a record. I wanted to have great material. So Steve goes, we got to put out a record, man. I'm like, hey. And he goes, check this out. I got these demos, man. Let me play them. So he puts them on. I listen. I go, hey, that sounds pretty good. He goes, you like that? Check this out. Puts on another one. Holy crap. That sounds great. He goes, yup. You like that? I got another one. Man, go, holy crap. We're making a record. You know what I mean? So it was just so cool in the sense that it was the same TRIXTER. It was the same morons doing the same thing the way we used to do it. And the quality, and I'm not saying this because we did it. You listen to the stuff. The quality material is kicking ass. There's some really good stuff on there. The production, it sounds great. And then it came out. It charted number 56 on iTunes. It was like, oh, here we go. So it was a dream come true again.
Yeah, and
a blessing from God.
At this point, we got cruises, we got revivals, we got package tours. If you had a band, you were going to work. If you had a band with all the original members, you had a huge plus, because it was very rare that you were going to catch a band anymore from that day, that either someone didn't pass away or couldn't get along. There was a lot of reasons, and you guys were really the pioneers of doing this. So, and then 2015, you make another record. Why not? First one went well, Frontiers. You do another one. This one's called Human Era.
You say something there when you say why not. It wasn't just why not. We had, again, what dictated really what we did, it was the material. We had some great material. I think all of us would have agreed we wouldn't just put out the record for the sake of putting it out unless we had something to say, unless we had something to play. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think really that was it. We didn't just say, oh, we got to put one out. Okay, put that. The reaction to the songs, people really liked it. That God bless, thank God. But even if they didn't, we believed it. I believe in both those records very much. The way they produced the song content. And I was not a primary writer by any far stretch, See, that's the thing. It wasn't selfish like, oh, I'm not putting it out. It was like I couldn't stand behind it with my heart if I didn't believe in the music, But man, after Steve played me those demos, and then we started tracking, and every time we laid it on a track, it sounded better and better and better. Like, holy crap, this thing really sounds good. I couldn't believe it. It was really amazing. I was so scared of being lumped into that slump 2000 category, and we were so busting that mold, man. You know, I was so proud. We were all so proud of the material, and I think that's the blessing. You know, it's like, wow, some really good stuff on here. So yeah, when Human Error came out in 2015, it wasn't just because you made another record because you had the opportunity. We had an opportunity to put some great songs down and make a great damn record. And I think that's, you know, a lot of people think that Human Error is the best record we ever did.
Yeah, and so
God bless, you know, God bless, God bless.
And so whenever we talk about such great and happy moments, we got to lead to other things. So
thanks for bringing me down, pal. You really know how to conduct an interview here, Jason. You're fucking it all up.
This is a lot like therapy. At the end, I'm going to ask you how it makes you feel. We're 55 minutes in, and we're now going to get to the bottom of this, okay?
Oh, no.
I know there's a pandemic going on right now, so nobody's touring, so that's fine. Everyone's at home. But I get the idea that there's some kind of problems in the Trixter camp, and we're going to sort that out today. The only one of you guys that I really know is I know Pete a little bit because he would come out and play here in Vegas with my guys, Sin City Sinners, a bunch of times. And so that's the only one I know. I've seen you guys a bunch of times, you know, met you in passing. But so let's figure this out because someone's got a problem with somebody. So who's not getting along with who right now?
Number one, there were always two camps within the band. This is a long, well, it hasn't always been as bad as it is now, but there was always Peter and I were always very close, and PJ and Steve were always very close. I mean, we were all collectively very, very close. We were a family, you know, and that's not bullcrap. That's for real. You know, we literally grew up together. PJ at 15 and 16 years old used to drive my car because I wanted him to pass his driving exam. And that's like to that level, man. You know what I mean? That's how much I've known these guys over 30 some odd years, 35 plus years. So we've been through a lot, and we've experienced things around the world to the likes of which people will never experience. So, you know, we've been through very, very highs, very, very lows all together. You know, we each know deep, dark secrets about each other, you know, and it's something beautiful. It really is. And unfortunately, more recently, it has turned more ugly. You know,
you and Pete both live in Arizona, and I believe the other guys are still on the East Coast, right?
That's correct. You know.
Okay, so what's the problem? Who's not getting along? Are you and Pete friendly?
Yes, I spoke with him today.
Okay, so we got that settled. What about PJ? Do you speak to PJ?
I have not spoken to him in, I believe, 3 years plus.
All right, now Steve Brown is mad at you.
It appears so.
I saw a headline. You know, I think it was Variety or Hollywood Reporter. It might have been during the Grammys. I'm not sure. But so, what is he mad at you for?
I think there's a lot of what it stems from is something I think that started a long time ago, and it was an unresolved crap that got worse and worse, and then got out of control. And I think it started small in the sense that there were two ideologies within the band on how to run the band. I mean, when we had opportunity like we did the second time around, when we first came out, we did 3 shows in 1 year. I think the next year we did 5. When you have 52 weekends and you're bound a big comeback and the press is favorable and people are throwing record deals at you and you're hitting, you know, number 56 on iTunes, the idea of playing 20 shows in 1 year, to me, it just seemed like an opportunity to strike that no one else really wanted to share the idea. That's where I think where things started, and nobody wanted to talk about it. That's a problem in any business, you know. So you think when there's opportunity.
You wanted to work more, they wanted to work less.
For the sake of argument, yes, exactly correct. Yeah.
But how does this make you a problem? Because he's painting you as if you did something wrong.
Yeah, I got to a point where I took some action, and I was somewhat of a dick about it. But it wasn't. My actions were certainly prompted to take action, and it kind of caught him in the backside a bit.
Can you tell me
what
he got
happened? Really angry at me?
Did you try to book gigs? What was it? What were you trying to do that he's mad about?
I'm hesitant to give the full details, but I think there was a dictatorial attitude that he had, and he wasn't exactly sitting on the throne. And I think he took offense to the idea that I took a strike at that, at his position, and it caught him a little short-sighted.
Okay, so Steve was sort of running the business, it sounds like, and you.
Yes and no. Yes and no. At first, yeah, but then he kind of relinquished that. And some of the decisions that were being made were not in everybody's best interest. And nobody wanted to talk. See, that's the biggest problem. I think, it's funny. When you see us clowning around on camera and having fun, that is 100% genuine. We are the biggest fucking goofballs. You put us in a room, it's freaking hysterical. Someone says, hey, look, guys, we got to talk about this thing. Everybody splits. So it's really weird that when we actually did have a problem, you try to address it, it didn't get fixed. And the longer it didn't get fixed, the more of a problem you're going to have.
All right,
I think that's really what happened with us.
Let's bring him in.
It really got out of control.
Let's bring him in. If we had that, we could solve the whole thing. If we can get you guys to talk face to face, the whole problem would be solved. I gotta say,
it sounds that easy, but it remains to be seen. What do you got up your sleeve?
Well, I gotta say, Gus, you sound. You are admitting that you might have made some fault or stepped,
Oh, I'll go so far as to say 100%. Yeah, I pissed them off big time, but it certainly wasn't without prompting. I didn't just one day wake up and say, you know what, fuck him, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take an axe and chop up his car. No, it was over a long period of time, and the idea that everybody avoided the idea of having a conversation about it. I mean, if you're going to run a bubblegum stand, you got to all agree upon how much bubble gum you're going to sell, what you're going to sell it for, and how often you're going to sell it, whatever. And to have four guys that own one bubble gum stand that can't agree on the price of bubble gum or how often you're going to sell it, it's a pretty substantial problem, So particularly when there's an opportunity, so much opportunity, like you were saying, the cruises, the this, the that, we just for the first time at 2015 when Human Error came out, we just went to Italy and England, the first time we ever went to Europe. How the hell did we not get to overseas prior to that? How did we not get to Europe prior to 2015 in our whole career? That's just like the craziest thing I've ever heard. No one ever wanted to sit down and talk about it. You know what I mean?
Well, you were not alone, though. That wasn't there's a lot of bands who were just doing that for the first time. Even some bigger bands just couldn't. People wanted to concentrate on America, and now all of a sudden this opened up, and there was an audience out there. But so anyway, listen, we have this year where no one did anything. There was no real reason to talk about business because there really isn't much business. But things are going to open up again, and it's going to come time to.
This year. I mean, it's funny you mentioned that bands like Firehouse did something right when they went overseas. Those are the kind of guys that sat down and had a conversation of how they're going to approach this sort of thing. That's why I applaud them to such a degree. You know what I mean? And the guys who do take the moment to think about what you're going to do, strategically make a plan how to do it, that's how you're going to reap rewards, and not just by playing 1,000 shows a year, but by being smart when you play shows. You know what I mean? I think that there's a lot to be said for that.
Anyone was there anyone managing or anyone in between, or was it just the band at this point?
Just the band.
Yeah, that's probably a problem. Now, sometimes
I will agree, and nobody wanted to have a conversation on that level either.
Yeah, some bands.
There's a number of things, It wasn't, like I said, there were things that prompted my actions, and the more questions you ask like that, I think people start to put the pieces together. It's like there's a reason why John Bon Jovi has a manager. There's a reason why Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley have a manager. They know what the hell they're doing. The tops of the tops, but they still have one. Why? How come we don't?
I was a band manager for quite some time, and every now and then you'd see people go, well, why does this Vegas band need a manager? And then you would realize that the guys in the band didn't like each other or couldn't agree on anything, and you had to have that referee who also knew business, because not all musicians are the best they think they are, but not everyone is the best. It's finessing the business person is very different than finessing the audience. And so sometimes, and it sounds like you guys need a referee of sorts.
Jason, say it again. Say it again. I got to tell you, You're one person that has made more sense in an interview than any 99% of the people I talk to. You are dead on the money on a lot of these issues, and these are exactly some of the things that I'm talking about that we were lacking. 100%. And you know what? Had we had a manager, had we had a guy, we'd probably be playing shows right now.
Yeah, well, maybe not right now, but soon. But
you know what? I'd pull off a fucking COVID goddamn onslaught right in the fucking parking lot of Meadowlands Arena. I swear to Christ.
Firehouse is playing right now. Believe it or not.
There you go.
I had Bill Everett a few weeks ago.
Things are coming around. Things are coming around.
They are. And listen, things are going to come around for TRIXTER too. The great thing about this band is that you were able to keep the lineup together. Of course, people make bad decisions. People make good decisions. People make mistakes. That's what friends do. That's what businesses do. But at the end of the day, there is still a TRIXTER business. Now, look, you guys aren't the Beatles. We're not reuniting Led Zeppelin. But people would like to see the four guys again, especially people who are nostalgic about it. This is their chance. So I believe that you guys are going to work this out. I'm sure someone's going to make a blabbermouth headline and Steve will watch it. You didn't call him a prick. You know what I mean? Well,
it goes without saying he's a prick, but no, you don't have to say that.
You just
hell, we used to call each other prick before we had the falling out.
Don't ruin the negotiations, Gus. Come on.
Dude, I say it laughing because Lord knows we would bust each other's balls for decades for crying out loud, our tempers are high, and on both sides. I'm more lackadaisical about it. But, honestly, I'm open to ideas for the future. Certainly. But you know what? Not without a conversation. It's got to start there, And above all else, I don't think anybody cared about the manner in which we conducted ourselves more than me. I always placed TRIXTER as a priority in my life. I never wanted to see anything but the best for this band. And not just for me, I mean for the band, In what way could the brand shine more? In what way could we do something more in order for that flag to fly high? That was my mission in life, Like when I talked about the records, I didn't want to make a record without great material. Not because I was a primary writer and I had something to benefit from it. I didn't want the brand to be tarnished with crap. I didn't want to release something that I didn't believe in, And so it goes a lot deeper than me. That wasn't it, man. If anything, I am so far removed from that quotient. I think anybody will agree. I do it because of my love for the band. And that means more to me than anything, And I can't profess to be 100% right in everything I do. But you know what? My heart is 100% right since day one.
But this is a good starting point because you're being honest, and that's a starting point. When somebody says, okay, maybe I made a mistake, maybe I wasn't perfect, then there's still something to salvage. My only issue is when you guys get back together, Pete's got to dye the hair. I don't like the gray hair. It makes me feel old. I don't care about him. Maybe he's happy and comfortable, but I'm not. And I don't want to see the kid from Paramus with gray hair. So
he looks like a Dragon Ball Z guy or something. I don't know.
He's a handsome guy, but he should dye the hair. Now,
dude, I swear to God, every other week I pretty much go over there and we stay a night and we get fucking crazy. He answered the door for the first time with that gray head. I thought his uncle was sleeping over or something. I swear to God, I couldn't believe it was him.
I'm going to text him. I think he's mad at me because we have a difference in politics. But politics, I think he deleted me on Facebook. But politics is over. It's time to get back to music. You know what I mean? Politics is pointless. Now, was anyone mad at you for this, or did they like it? What do you think? The 30th anniversary, those guys in TRIXTER don't do anything for the 30th anniversary. You put out a version of Give It To Me Good. This is you, Mark Gus Scott, singing. This is a country version of Give It To Me Good. What was other people's reaction?
Outside the band, very good. Inside, well, I guess you would have to ask the other guys what they thought. I played it for I played it for Pete when it was about 2/3 done, and when I put it on, he looked at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'll be honest with you, I thought it was an absolute crime that no one wanted to do anything for the 30th anniversary. I'm like, Are you fucking kidding me? Talk about letting, the opportunity just sail by. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, again, I didn't write the song. I didn't stand to benefit greatly because I love the fucking song. I remember the first time Steve played it for me, and I was jumping up and down on his bed, going crazy, like, woohoo! Like the guitar riff is very, it's like, it's got a lot of energy. It's great. It was like, that was one of the first songs we listened to, like, wow, I really believe that song could do something. It was great. I played the demo for my friends down at the diner at the time, and they all look and go, wow, like they could feel it, you could taste it, So the idea, and I always thought it could be a great country crossover kind of song. So I said, shoot, man, I'm just going to do it. I did a test track with just the acoustic guitar and the vocal because, quite frankly, I didn't know how it was going to sound on it. But the test track came out really good. I said, screw it, we're doing it. And I don't know. What do you think?
I was pleasantly surprised. Listen, the first thing I thought was, does the world really need the drummer for TRIXTER singing country music? Is this what the world's waiting for? And so I went in with a closed mind, and I said, oh, well, listen, I should at least listen to it. And if it's really ridiculous, I'll say it's really ridiculous. I think what people might think is ridiculous is that you're a drummer and, this is not Dave Grohl necessarily. But I think that if someone just heard it, they would like it. I think if someone thought this is a fun kind of tribute to the song and didn't know, I think they kind of think it's cool. First of all, if you don't like it, don't listen to it. It's not rocket science. But if you're a fan and you think it's cool and maybe you want to relive that song in a different way, why not? And so I can't see why anyone would be angry. But then again, I had a hunch that maybe somebody would be.
It's funny. I look at it from a different perspective. I think there's a lot of people in the country genre that don't know who the drummer of TRIXTER is.
Correct.
I was looking to broaden the demographic footprint of people that actually like the song. That was really my aim, and I don't think it's dead yet. I think there's, with COVID dying down, I think there's opportunity to really bust this idea out. It's funny. What gave me the real idea, I went to go see the Zac Brown Band.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the biggest song of the night was for those guys? Metallica's Enter Sandman.
Mm.
Who would have thought they're playing in front of 18,000 people, and what are they getting up and going crazy to? Enter Sandman.
Mm-hmm.
They're a freaking country act. There is a common bond between a country audience and a rock audience.
Yes.
So my idea with this whole "give it to me" good thing was to exploit that, to see what's up and how far we could push it. And to be quite honest with you, I'd really like to do a live video for it. And I think something like that is an idea to bridge the two audiences together. So there's a bigger picture than just me doing the song. It's really bringing it to a genre that hasn't heard TRIXTER necessarily. And I think there's some ground to be made there.
And it's more than just the one song. You have other music available. I'm going to link your website in the description because your website is a big pain in the ass to say.
It's just markgusscott.com. That's the best place to go.
I don't think that works.
Give it a shot. markgusscott.com.
Hold on. Let me do it right now.
Now you got me. No, yeah, it works.
You wait.
www.markgusscott.com.
I don't think you got to put that in. What are you, Johnny Lawrence? Hold on.
Or you just give it a Google, Mark Gus Scott, like the first thing that pops up.
$1.99 if you want to register Mark Gus Scott right now.
What, are you kidding me? Uh-oh. I gotta get on to my guy. $1.99?
You're going to have to write a note. But if you go to markgusscottusa.wix site.
No. Mark Gus.
See? Now we got to go right. You guys, Steve Brown hacked you.
That could very well be. Oh, wait, I spelled Scott wrong. Hang on.
Well, I spelled it right.
I didn't.
I'm not a lifelong musician. I can spell.
Gusscott.com.
This is what people tuned in for.
Shit, look at it. Oh, 1999. Yeah. I am screwed. I got to get my, thanks for letting me know. I got to get my website back.
Yeah, before anyone steals it now.
I'm telling you, Mark Gus Scott. So here it is. And let me see if I click.
But there is a
official
website
site.
on that page where you can buy merch and you can hear his music.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna.
It's working.
Yeah, but that's not markgusscott.com. read your URL.
You know what? It's the link from that. I gotta put in a call.
You got to
Thank
link
you
back.
for letting me know. Now you got me all for touch.
But I'm going to put the link down below so people can hear your music, because there's more than just the one song, and they can see things, they can buy merchandise and get to know more about you too. And hopefully soon enough, people will get to see you. Like you're saying, there's still possibilities. TRIXTER, look, you guys are going to get back together. You're going to figure it out. It's not that this isn't rocket science. You guys don't have to be besties again. You go play some shows and have a good time, and I'm sure it'll come back. I don't even know if making new TRIXTER music is necessarily a thing anymore. For not just TRIXTER, for any bands. I think the nostalgia has really taken over. You're fortunate that you made 2 good albums in the later years, because nowadays people want to hear what they want to hear. And
Agreed.
You know, living. You have your own thing to do. They have their own things to do. And so anyway, I'm going to link all that below, and we'll have links so you can buy things, and I'm going to have all the TRIXTER things you can want to buy. And it'll help the channel if you buy it. It'll support everybody, and it's a good thing. I'm really
Jason,
glad
you're a beautiful man. God bless you.
Thank you, Mark. I'm really glad. Gus, sorry, I was looking in your eyes. We spent
Just
so much
don't look
time.
deep into the lens when you say it. It'll be okay.
Yeah. We spent so much time together. I felt like we were close. Anyway, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out Mark Gus Scott, but not at his website just yet. And we'll catch you again soon. Thank you.